hey, here's a first. Never before has any country in battle shot out of the sky a ballistic missile outside of the atmosphere. Apparently, the Houthis launched from Yemen a missile that flew 1,000 miles over the Arabian Peninsula on the way to its target. It left our atmosphere, was in space, and Israel used its Arrow missile defense system to shoot down a ballistic missile outside of Earth's atmosphere, believed to be the first combat ever to take place in space. Oh, that's good. Oh. So whoever had first battle in space, the Houthis versus Israel, you're a winner. Come claim your prize.
Star Wars has begun. Who knew? That would be but the odds on that would be very high. I feel like Houthis would not be the top of the list of that particular equation, but there you go.
Yemen's Houthis also released footage purporting to show the missile being launched as part of a barrage of drones and other long-range weapons aimed at Israeli towns and cities. Can I ask you, the Houthis, what is their main source of income there? I mean, what is it that they produce that allows them to have a defense industry that is working on ballistic missile systems? I know what the Houthis do for a living. You know, that big business in Yemen, which is
oil and gas.
Oil and gas.
Yeah.
Their oil and gas?
Income from oil production constitutes 70 to 75% of government revenue and 90% of exports.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
That's not necessarily specific to the Houthis, but that's specific to Yemen.
Yeah, okay. But the Houthis are rebels, right?
I mean,
I think the Houthis are rebels. I mean, I just keep seeing these sand scenes from Star Wars, you know, with the animals that go, roar, and, you know, they're riding on the back. That's how I'm picturing now, and I know that's very ignorant of me. But roar, I have a feeling has been heard somewhere in the Houthi range at some point.
I mean, yes, they're rebels. I mean, but I don't. That's where you have to think they're coming. It's funding from inside the country still.
Yeah,
right. And
sure.
that funding comes.
Or maybe Iran. Now, if the Houthis have a ballistic missile and they're getting maybe technology, I don't know. I'm sure the Houthis have a unbelievable scientific community.
Great IT department.
Sure.
At the Houthis.
Sure. And so if the Houthis have it, I would imagine the Iranians could put a ballistic missile into the sky, and they
one would believe yes.
also have a nuke.
Well, not confirmed, right?
Well, I don't know. I remember reading about a year ago that they were like 20 days away from being able to.
Yeah, right.
build it. And, so that was about a year ago. I mean, I'm sure if
they don't have it today, they'll have it soon, I'm sure. And they can also get them from places like North Korea.
Yeah.
Or probably China or Russia.
Yeah, so that's good. So we got that we got that going for you. Now, in just a personal note, the pro-Palestinian supporters that were swarming outside the White House, chanting Allah Akbar, something that I just love, especially this time of year, to hear the chants of Allah Akbar ring through the streets, and
it's beautiful.
Off those American maples. Oh, it's so beautiful. So anyway, as they were trying to take down the gates of the White House, and then they went to the back gate or the side gate of the White House, and they had these two big, white columns, and then the gates that actually open up. And they took red paint, and everybody dipped their hands in red paint, and then put that red paint on the two columns on each side. Now, that happened Saturday night. Now, I've seen a picture of it, which I would assume was Sunday, because it was daylight. Was it the union rules that stopped the White House from having that painted at 2 o'clock in the morning? Why would you leave bloody handprints all over the gates of the White House? You get somebody with a gallon of white paint and you paint that at 2 o'clock in the morning. Or are they union rules? I don't know. Maybe union would just, you're not going to get a union guy to do that. Okay, I would have volunteered. It's the Biden White House. I'm not a fan. I would have volunteered to take the bloody handprints off of the gates of the White House. What the hell is wrong with these people?
You'd think at least someone gets out there with a power washer and gives it a go. I mean, the whole point, think about this is symbolism, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's symbolism.
Yeah.
The fact that they were out there shaking the fences of the White House grounds.
But what are you going to do? What are you going to do, honestly?
Is that a question you want an answer to? Because I don't think America, look, it's fascinating to watch because you mentioned, let me go back to your comments last hour on what you would do if you were a leftist, activist, extremist type looking to create chaos.
Sure.
You empower a movement like the pro-Hamas movement that is apparently alive and well in this country to go out there and shake the fences of the White House. Let's just say, and this has happened many times, protests like that spiral out of control, right? It's, you'd argue, some people would say that's what happened on January 6th. People were very upset. It didn't plan on going into the Capitol, but it did. Black Lives Matter rallies. Maybe we all know there were some people who were there who were looking to burn down buildings. Many, though, were just pissed off about what happened and then got involved, got fired up. Things spiraled out of control. If something like that happens at the White House, if they rush the White House, right? Let's just say
they'd be shot.
They would be shot, but there might be thousands of them. And you know what?
And they would be shot.
I hope we still have a Secret Service who would shoot a bunch of people who tried to rush the White House and kill the president. I hope that still exists because that's the way it should be. But what's going to happen in that situation is the American people, I think, even with their distaste for this particular president, would rally behind him, number one, at some level, and number two, would support somewhat draconian steps to make sure that does not happen again.
Oh, yeah, you'd lose your freedom to protest in the streets, I think.
Go back to, I hate to bring up the Nazis because that's what, but you got to do it 46 times per episode on the Glenn Beck program. We're contractually obligated to do so. And if you go back to the Nazis, remember, how did Hitler really claim to take that mantle that he had to take power?
It was the Reichstag fire.
It was the Reichstag fire, and it was, the groups under him that initially supported Hitler that came along and started doing terrible things. And he said, I have to step up. I have to do something here. I have to expel these groups that are I have to break the Constitution because of what they're doing. People on supposedly his side.
This is top down, bottom up, inside out. This is exactly what I've been warning about since 2008. You empower the people on the streets. They're useful idiots. You allow them to create chaos. And then when the people cry out and say, enough is enough, then the government comes down with draconian measures to crush them first, but crush everyone else as well. So they'll take control. That's the plan of leftists. Top down, bottom up, inside out. That's what it is. The other thing on it is the Bubba effect. We have a terrorist problem in this country. If they, God forbid, do something like, I don't even want to say it, they do something that has been done before in this country, people will lose their mind. And do you think the federal government is going to, the one who just said, hey, we care about Islamophobia over anti-Semitism, do you think those people who opened up our border are going to have any credibility? Any credibility? Any authority? This is what the military had been planning for. I've been telling you that since 2008, too, called the Bubba effect. And we are prime for all of those things. That's why we just have to get down on our knees and pray, because this is going to take a miracle that only the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob could pull off. It is. And we've got to stop putting our faith in men and start putting our faith in God again. Let's do everything we can to win the election. Let's do everything we can to make sure that we are stable in our own lives. But I'd get down on your knees and pray, because God is the only answer to this particular problem, I believe.